Let me turn that on. Okay, great. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we can maybe start with introductions and I can just provide some real high level context here. So my name's Alyssa Matt. I am the Assistant Vice President for External Relations for USD. I've been in this role for just over a year now. Prior to that, I worked for the USD Foundation for like 7.5 years. So John, we corresponded on a couple different things when I was over there. My role in this project is as a faculty advisor. I was thrilled to be paired with Katie and Colin and the Coyote Brotherhood project because I have some familiarity with the organization and also really admire the work that you all are doing. But my job is just that. It's to advise, it's support Katie and Colin with their work. They will be doing the lion's share of this. And my job is simply to be a resource and to help kind of block and tackle for them. So Colin, do you maybe want to introduce yourself next?
Yeah, I can. I'm Colin Shar, senior here at USD, majoring in both business management and finance. I am from a small town just south of Sioux City, Iowa, called Sergeant Bluff. So I'm A, used to the cold, and B, used to the small town feel that is both Vermilion and my hometown.
And Colin, is this your second CBC project or third?
So you guys are my second pair, but this is my third project. So me and a gal named Elise Whittemore, who is a graduate student here, we tackled and we were the first kind of ever summer Coyote Business Consulting project. And we went from the summer all the way through last winter, and we helped DARC, which is Dakota State's Applied Research Lab, brand new, out in both Madison and in Sioux Falls. And we kind of helped them get off the ground and get running with different human resources capabilities and different management things.
Awesome.
Katie, how about you?
Great, yeah. I'm Katie Gellerman. I'm a senior majoring in marketing here in Vermilion, and I'm from Sioux Falls. So I have a few different experiences in marketing. I had a couple of internships in Sioux Falls at a couple of in-house places, and then this is my second CVC project. I took a little break, so I did it my sophomore year. So it's been like a couple years since then, but I am excited to dive back into this. So my family is the Maloney family. So I don't know if you know them, but they are big USD athletics, especially Coyote football fans. So this is a really fun project for me. So just really excited to learn more about it and to help you guys out. So
Awesome. Awesome. How about if you want us to kind of give a little background as well?
Yeah, that would be great, John.
Yeah. Hey, V, why don't you go first?
So I went to South Dakota from 73 to 77. And I was the roommate of John Russell for 4 consecutive years. Well, let's say 3.5 years until there was a episode.
Hey, don't go into the details, brother.
I know. I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry. Needless to say, we didn't make it all 4 years, but that's another whole story. But so I've been fortunate to kind of work along with John with the Brotherhood from the very beginning. We started very humbly, and it's kind of John's brainchild. And he has put, every bit of effort and time that's possible for a volunteer type person, but he's a great leader. We've done a lot of good things. I don't know how far we're up to now, but maybe we've raised $150,000 since we started the Brotherhood. And we've had a lot of fun doing it. We have a reunion game in the fall and everybody gets together. We have a dinner, we play golf, we have a lot of fun. We raise some money, and we're hoping to, take this organization to the next level. And we're looking for some help from you folks to do that. So I'm glad to help out when I can. And I'm certainly thankful for you folks for contributing.
Awesome. Awesome. Hey, Todd, I see you jumped on there. Why don't you give everybody a little background?
Yep, happy to do it, JR. Thank you. My name's Todd Poling. I'm a 1988 B School graduate, but grew up in Vermilion and watching JR and John play actually as a young kid. So my roots go way back to that. I live in San Diego now. New to the Brotherhood. JR and Scott Jones reached out to me just last fall. So I got involved and really excited about it. And also, just so everybody knows, we're working on the development in Vermilion. Is Will on? I can't see all the pictures.
No, it's just Mike Teslo, V, and
Okay.
myself. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I met Will a couple years ago. We're working on a townhome development just south of the Prairie in Vermilion. We'll be starting later this spring. So super excited to be involved again and helping the community there.
Awesome. Awesome.
And Colin, my parents' first teaching job was in Sergeant Bluff, so I know where that is.
Hey, Mike, do you want to give a little background?
Sure. My name is Mike Teslo. I'm from Sioux Falls. I graduated in 1980, and I was lucky enough to come in and play for a couple of years with JR and JV. I can definitely call both of them mentors. So to be some 50 years later, to be involved with these guys and also have been involved with these guys since the beginning. I was lucky enough to get beside both of them and be a founder of the Brotherhood, which has opened up all kinds of opportunities. And it's been a real, like JV said, a pleasure to work with everybody again, see everybody again. So this is just another extension of that program. I also was with a corporation up here and have been slightly involved with this project with an actual company. And so this is exciting and we really appreciate it and look forward to the next few weeks working, to try to, obviously better the Brotherhood and work with USD in this capacity. So we appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, terrific. Thanks, Mike. And yeah, a little background about me. I was a Philly kid, ended up going to South Dakota, quite a switch, back in 73. Probably one of the best moves I made in my life, made friends for life, obviously. It's been terrific. I've been married 40 years, have 3 adult children. Currently, we live in Florida. And the Brotherhood, really, the Brotherhood's roots go back to 2002. We originally started as a kind of a fantasy football league, and it kind of blossomed from there. Back in the day when Katrina happened in 05, we all got together, did a food drive in the parking lot of the Dome, brought a tractor trailer down from Sioux Falls, filled that thing. And that kind of was a little bit of, kind of the feeling that we all got hanging together, being back together. And as years went on, we weren't coming back every year, but we were definitely outside of Vermilion. We were getting together in different places. And then in 2015, 10 years ago now, we said, what, we really need to kind of take our group and become more official. So we had met with, at the time, it was David Herbster and some of the administration. And, we worked on our mission statement and vision, and we put together our founder team. There's 9 of us in that group. We have a captain's team where there's about 15 in there. We have an advisory group. We have a prayer team. All total, we have close to 30 guys that are in that leadership. And as we started growing, I would have to correct V a little bit. Since we started 10 years ago, we've raised more like over $750,000. Last year, we raised 150. But we've been a significant partner in the last, 5 years, I would say, with the athletic department. We've basically our focus is football. And it's not, I would say the fundraising effort was always a secondary push for us. Our real connection and where we felt we could really help, enhance uh, basically the younger athletes was just through networking. So, we've done things like, we've improved every year in that area. But probably like last summer, in the middle of July, when the football players were in town, we had a luncheon. There was like 20 seniors at the time. We had 10 local businessmen from Sioux Falls, Sioux City, and Vermilion, who were all Coyote Brotherhood guys, came down. Coach Nielsen was there. Uh, John Schummel was there. Noah Shepard. And the guys just got up and talked about what they do and how we can help. And that, as we kind of develop the brotherhood, that's kind of really the niche and the focus. I think that really is our main objective. The main objective is making the brotherhood a resource for younger, primarily the younger guys, as they're coming out, so that we can help network them into opportunities that they're trying to get into. And it was funny doing this program. I saw the information on LinkedIn, and I filled it out, kind of not thinking that we would get accepted. I'll be honest with you. So when I got the call that we were accepted, I was like ecstatic. I was like, wow, this is great, because we are really, at this 10-year period, we're at a time in the organization's life where, most of the guys on this call, you could tell by their years, we're up in age, and we really need to, with your input and your vision, we're hoping to develop, a structure, more of an organized program, so that we kind of have a template that, can be passed on, to other guys to step into different roles. So trust me, this is a thrill for us. We have a team put together of a total of 8 guys. There's 4 of us on here now, and I think as we decide when we'll be meeting, that's why I want to record this, so we can share it with everybody, so everybody's up to speed. But there might be different faces, which will be good, because I think we'll get different input as well. So excited to be here. Looking forward to working with, Katie, Colin, Elisa. This is exciting for the Brotherhood.
Awesome. Well, appreciate everybody's information and kind of the overall opportunity here that you outlined, John. I've got your project proposal pulled up. I'm sure Katie and Colin do too. It seems pretty straightforward what you're kind of hoping for here. But Colin, Katie, do you have any initial questions that you want to ask of John and team?
I guess I would just say, besides growth, and obviously that being probably your main goal and then your template to build behind it, is there any, like, at the end of this, you want to look back and say, okay, we've gone from this step to this step, rather than we need to increase our marketing or we need to increase in our temp? Like, are there specific, I guess, key objectives that you want to reach by a certain point?
Well,
Go ahead, Mike.
I think the one thing that John, and he mentioned it, kind of working through his thoughts, we definitely need a succession plan. From a business perspective, to create sustainability in the actual individuals that are running, that are going to take this business as it's being created into a business on into the future. And I think that's real important, because all of the growth and all of the different good things that are going to come of it and everything that's involved is going to be dependent on a succession plan moving into the future so that, you know, like he said, the younger guys can get involved and then the growth comes from there. And so I think that's an important piece of the puzzle as an underlying, you know, motivator for this thing.
Any other comments, Todd, V?
Well, I mean, structurally, we're just a group of people that get together. I mean, bottom line, there's no formal structure in the sense of an entity. You know, we're not a 501c3. You know, we're just a bunch of guys that get together and have a lot of fun and trying to do some good things. So that'd be something to open up for discussion, which would be how do we, and maybe we don't even need to do that. But right now, trying to determine, are we missing something in terms of, the organizational structure? So that'd be a question that I have.
Todd, how about you? Any thoughts?
Yeah, GR, not a lot to add. I mean, I think your summary was good. I mean, just like with all of these, it's, what does success look like, right? What are the one or two things when you're done with this that you want to make sure get covered? And succession plan is kind of, that's the thing, right? Where you get just more people involved.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, and I'll be honest too, I'm not exactly clear on the scope of, like Katie and Colin, like what you guys will dive into, but certainly right now we need to determine, does the Brotherhood become some small LLC? Does it try to become some nonprofit? Because the current structure is not sustainable. What we do now is not going to go beyond us. That's a fact. So that would be one thing, structure. I think the other thing is, how does the Brotherhood, like right now, every dollar that we raise goes directly to the foundation. We don't get there's no compensation for any marketing, anything at all. Everything is just kind of out of pocket from a few people. That's the way we're run. So we need to, I think, look into how can we generate, what kind of revenue sources could the Brotherhood use to generate sustainability? And I'm not talking about, making a ton of money, but enough to kind of pay, constant contact, pay for Zoom, pay for, YouTube, all of those different things. So that's another area. I think the other thing that you notice where the university's headed, John Schummel talking about the Yoke Fund, and what does the Yoke Fund mean for the Brotherhood? Now, he and I have chatted last week for about a half an hour. And my first question when I saw that note come out was, well, what does that mean for the Brotherhood fundraiser? And he was pretty clear that the Brotherhood fundraiser is a real asset that he wants to see continue. Now, the form of that, in the past, we would take 4 to 6 weeks in the fall and just have a fundraiser. He's of the mindset, and I think this is where the university's headed, to maybe the Brotherhood needs to look at a membership-based setup. So that would be another area that, I think we can throw into the mix to try to say, okay, is that idea, is that concept viable for the Brotherhood? And what kind of benefits could the Brotherhood offer for members and things like that? Another area, Katie, I read your resume. You have a significant background in marketing and social media and all of that. You're looking at guys that, we were much older than you when the computer came out. So social media is, I have to call my daughter who's 37 and say, or my son and say, hey, I'm trying to do this. So I think we need some direction and help with our social media, with our website structure, a lot of those things. So we're almost, you're talking to a group that with your input and your vision, you can really take us from a business model from almost ground zero and say, okay, these guys have developed something that's been going on for 10 years with no real business structure. Now, here we have two business school experts. Bring us the fresh ideas. Bring us your concepts of, what's being taught now, what's being, what's going on in the business world that we're not even aware of. So I think what I would say to you guys is please don't hesitate with your ideas. Don't hesitate with your vision, because we're very new and we're very open to, your thoughts and suggestions. So that's why we're real thrilled about this opportunity.
Great. Yeah, thanks, John. I guess that was kind of diving into my other question. I was just looking at your ranking preferences on the form that you filled out, and marketing was number one. So I was just and obviously marketing goes along with everything that you said about organizational structure and everything like that. So was just gonna ask about that. So thanks for clearing that up. But yeah, I think Colin and I are gonna have a lot of fun with this. I think that we bring in like different strengths. I don't have much experience in like the finance and operational realm, but I think that we can bring our Beacom teachings to this project. So
Terrific.
So when it comes to, the project, could you kind of describe, the length and how many meetings and, that kind of a thing? Like, kind of what are we looking at in terms of we're starting today, but then where does it end? And what happens in the middle? Do we meet 5 times, 6 times, or is it variable? How does it all work?
So
Yeah, go ahead,
you
Colin.
go ahead. So we're starting right now. Sorry, I'm kind of trying to dual screen here a little bit. So we started today as our first meeting, and then we present in Sioux Falls on April 16th. So when we're done, the point of Coyote Business Consulting is then at the end we have to make a poster board, write a paper. Not really my cup of tea, but
I got that.
for a side tangent. But so April 16th is kind of when we are done for the most part. That's when we present. Our paper and posters due on the 11th. Otherwise, generally in the past, I've been mostly meeting weekly with my client. Now, granted, I have no problem. Like if you shoot me an email or shoot me a text and it's like, hey, Colin, like, what's your thought on this? Or like, hey, like, where are we at on this? Like, I have no problem with you texting or emailing me whenever you want, however much you want, whenever. But I would say probably from a meeting standpoint, actually getting face to face in front of you guys and talking, I would say probably on a weekly basis.
So who are you presenting to then? Your professor or teacher or?
No, so we present in Sioux Falls at a venue called Startup Sioux Falls. And so generally there, one, clients can show up. So you all are invited to show up. So Mike, from your perspective, it'd be a no-brainer for you to try to go rather than, I mean, no offense to both Johns in Florida, but I wouldn't leave Florida in April if you paid me to come to South Dakota for one meeting that's going to last maybe 30 minutes. Otherwise, we'll present our poster and paper to you guys on Zoom too, just so then you guys can kind of get a finished product and kind of at the end of it. But for the most part, Mike, in person, we're presenting to Beacom faculty, business professionals of Sioux Falls, and then client base of people who have other projects, because I want to say there's like 20 projects going on at one time in a semester, give or take 5 or 10.
I got you. Yep.
And is it kind of a competition where, I mean, I assume you get graded, but I mean, are you rated amongst the other 15 or 20 companies or?
I don't think you're really necessarily graded. I think you get like awards for like, you know, best poster or things like that. I don't think it's like a competition based. Everybody wants you to succeed. So, but
Yeah.
I mean, mentally, maybe you're like comparing your projects to others, but yeah, it's just a great opportunity for all business students. So. And it's really competitive too, apparently. So.
It's having attended a number of the past showcases. It's very impressive. Mike, I would echo Colin's comments. If you're able to attend, I just put a hold on John, sent a hold John's way if he wants to distribute that out. I would encourage you or others if you find yourself in Sioux Falls. It's a nicely done event.
Sure.
Logistically, does this time, generally Thursdays from 2 to 3 Central, does that work for you all, or would you like us to send some sort of scheduling survey to find a time that works differently? I'd like to be able to hold calendars as I know people get busy.
Yeah. I mean, for me, this Thursdays are good. This time frame works good for me, and I agree. I think, like as an example, there's 4 of us on here. If I let everybody know, hey, we're going to be meeting every Thursday, from 2 to 3 Central Time, you're right. Then they can kind of say, okay, yeah, I can make that one, I can make this one, or whatever.
Yeah.
My plan would be to, make them all. But I don't know. Well, obviously, V, you're here. Todd, you're here. Mike, is
Fine.
this something you can make regularly?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it's as good as any. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep, sounds good.
Hey, Colin, I have one thing to add. It was maybe more of a question, and JR brought it up a little bit, but it'd be really interesting to hear your guys' perspective on 2 things. One, what's not being done. A lot of people are doing a lot of work, and I'm just learning actually about what's getting done. But then I'm astonished by what JR is actually doing every day, right? And how much there is to do to kind of keep the wheels moving. But yeah, the 2 questions being what's not being done because he just can't get to it, or there's just not enough time. And then 2, what help can we all give him, right? So JR, I mean, like any founder of or CEO of any organization, right? You kind of deserve to for these next few years to do what you want to do and be involved at the level you want to be involved at. So what is that for you where you'll have the most fun, get the most out of it as other people are doing a lot more of the heavy lifting?
Yeah, and I think and this kind of goes back to the marketing. I mean, the biggest thing, particularly during the football season, you have a game every week, so we're putting information out, almost every day during the season.
Yeah.
So so that area, and maybe Katie has some thoughts. There may be things that could be automated, or spread around. Or the other piece of it for me is, and I've shared this with John Shelmo. It's like at some point, yeah, we're not going to be capable to do this. So how do we get the help? Now, if we had some resources, then we could afford to pay maybe an intern or something like that, or a student to say, hey, just keep up on our Instagram and our Twitter or whatever, and send out a few emails a week. So that's where I think that our biggest hurdle for me is people are not going to do the work, a lot of work, necessarily for free. That's just not fair. I mean, we do it because we love it and it's fun. No issues. But going forward, how can the Brotherhood raise a little money so they got a kitty to just where we can approach a student, and maybe it's through the business school and this is the other thing that I want to get connected, and that's why getting connected with this business school is awesome, because maybe as you have younger students coming through that are in marketing, maybe the Brotherhood becomes kind of an annual little internship program where we can afford to pay somebody
Yeah.
to do some marketing for us. And so, yeah, I mean, you're right, Todd. I mean, we need to find ways where we can, really self-sustain ourselves and get to the point where uh, a lot of the hard work or the maintenance work is being, by someone other than, some of us.
Right. And between the B School and that, there's obviously a lot of resources across the Brotherhood with their businesses and their talents, where if they just know what the need is and somebody asks, the answer is probably going to be yes most of the time, right?
Yeah, and that's true. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, here's the interesting part, to be fair. And I'm speaking for myself. I don't know I don't know the business, the marketing business well enough to say, now I've learned how to do constant contact and those sort of things. Do I do it very well? Not really. It takes me a lot of time. But I mean, even how to explain, where I'm sure Katie could say, hey, what you need is this, this, and this in 2 sentences. And if we shout that out to the Brotherhood, guys say, oh yeah, we got a team of designers or whatever, so you're right. I mean, there are resources that are very definitely untapped. Yeah, that's true.
I will guarantee you that when we move forward and on our next meetings, and if we can get the whole 8 of everybody involved, I will guarantee you Will Powell will have all kinds of input in this area.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mike. I do. And
this guy's a phenomenon, so
yeah.
so I think to what you said, Todd, there's a lot of talent and a lot of resources within the Brotherhood. If the gang here from USD could just guide us to get that marketing plan, to get that budget in place, to get all those ideas structured, like John said, yeah, that's where I see this heading as well.
Yeah, great.
I have just a kind of couple structural questions. Um, what do you currently use to keep track of all of your members? I know you don't have an official membership, but what do you use to keep track of all your guys?
So we have on our website we have a roster form.
Okay.
So they fill that out. It goes into the constant contact, but a lot of it's manual.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have like an Excel spreadsheet, with names and phone numbers and all of that. So it's antiquated. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's something that I've actually been looking at, where maybe an example like throughout the year, I hate to say it, but sometimes guys pass away.
Yeah.
And when that happens, what we've been doing is sending the family a stone from the Brotherhood that has their name and number on it. And I mean, it costs $100, but we'll then make some phone calls, collect some money. But I think one thing that would help us is maybe if we had, there's a company out there called Donor Perfect, that would keep all of the membership information much more organized and much more accessible to, where everybody could, we could say, all right, here's the team that's running this now. Here's the password. Here's the information. It's easily accessible. So it's we have the information, but it's not as smooth and available as it should be.
Yeah. Okay. And then follow up to that, how much work, if any, do you do with the foundation currently in terms of kind of auditing that information? Do you ever request lists or updated contact information or about any of your guys from them or?
No, when we first started like 10 years ago, we went that route, and it seemed like the list we were getting from them was so old that the information, it was kind of like we're better off just word of mouth.
Yeah.
But to your point, I mean, I'm sure their database is probably more refined now, and that would be something that, could help us to establish or increase our current database for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then lastly, as far as existing marketing efforts go, can you talk to us a little bit about I mean, you've mentioned emails, I see you on LinkedIn, Facebook, things like that. Are there any other marketing efforts that you do on a pretty regular basis?
Um, you know, not really.
Okay.
I mean, I think all of our communication and marketing is in those areas. Um, and our fundraiser, uh, thankfully we have a great nucleus that supports the fundraiser. We have about 150 guys regularly that have donated over the years. But that's maybe less than half of our database. But we don't have a marketing plan. That's the bottom line. It's just as information comes out, we share it with our members, but we don't have a plan per se.
Last question, I think. Sorry, admittedly, I'm a bit of a question person. But when you were talking, when all of you were talking earlier about kind of your role, I was paying particular attention to like what is the why? Like, what is your why for this organization? What is your why for this project? You talk about the fundraising opportunity, of course, but you talk equally important is that networking piece of it. Probably a follow-up question to the CRM piece of your members. Do you maintain, like within that membership, do you maintain any information or data about what professions people are currently in, where they live, kind of what networks or what skills or what unique value do certain members have? Um, I'm asking specifically for that, like kind of from that networking angle.
Yeah, and I guess that maybe address that part of the question first. Um, we had one of our guys, David Bush. David, very, he's a marketing guy, and that's kind of his business. He had us set up on a Google program where guys could go in and basically we put together a questionnaire, and
Sure.
that's also actually what's in our roster form. And we asked them, what their profession is, what they would, what they would say to a graduating senior, things like that. Now the issue is, okay, we have information, but how does a guy who's 29 years old and is moving to San Diego, how does he find out that Todd Polling's out there and Todd could maybe help him out with something? And that's where we haven't rolled it into something that people can access. Um, now the why, and I'm sure all of us have maybe a different reason, but my why, and when we were putting together our mission statement, and if you go on our website, Colin and Katie, you can kind of pull up some of that stuff, and it needs to be refreshed. I'll say that because that was done 10 years ago, but it really started out with the emotional connection that we all have with each other. And, I mean, I can say the bond that we've developed over 50 years of hanging out is extremely special. And I run into people in different walks of life, and none of them have what we have. And I can say that it's just not out there. So that for me, the relationship I have with the brothers, the guys that I not only play football with, I know how special that is. So that's the driving mission to to create an environment where guys from the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s can all share in a similar experience. And what we kind of talk about is we have guys from the 1960s who basically had a very similar experience to the young guys who are graduating from the program now. You know, Vermilion has really not changed. I mean, Leo's and a lot, you know, the Char Bar, you know, all of those places are still there, you know, so that this, you know, and college is all about the social experience.
So's the library, John, but you didn't bring that up.
Yeah, well, hey, notice I haven't talked about my degree and what it's in either, Ted. But I think that's the real why. You know, the why is, you know, the special relationship that we all have developed, and we know that that feels good, and it helps you. And really, what's happened, you know, I'll be 70 in 2 months, and when I got into my 50s, you know, you start to see the future of your life, and when you can connect with the guys that you grew up with when you were 18 and 22 and go back to those experiences, it's almost refreshing. It can help to keep you young. So we're promoting, that's the experience we're promoting. And along the way, you know, we raise some money. But that's not really what we're trying to, you know, push. We're pushing the experience of getting back together with these young people, just like all of you have experienced. You have friends that you've gone through college with, and that's a bond that you're going to have for your life. But if there's an environment that nurtures that, and that's what the Brotherhood is, we want to nurture that experience for everybody. So that's the why for me.
You know, when I was a student at USD, I was a part of the Kappa Alpha Theta sorority. And so much of what you're talking about as far as that connection and that special bond, it reminds me of my experience with that. But for what it's worth, it also reminds me of conversations I've had with alums of that sorority and others. This membership in general, it's changing. Your organization is not the only one that's experiencing some of these kind of little bit growing pains. And I can blame millennials for this. There's kind of a different sort of affinity with some of these membership based organizations, and kind of what that motivation or what that drive is may look different among younger generations than it would with older. So I applaud you for your forward thinking here and desire to kind of get on this, so that the organization can last for a long time.
And you know, like like anything, you have to have some wins that you can talk about. And I think the real wins for us, they come from kind of hookups with younger guys, things that we can do. You know, like we've had some great wins in the last few months with some of the guys coming out, you know, Travis Tice, Carter Bell, you know, JJ Galbraith, where we're creating environments to help them go beyond and what their future is. You know, Will Dunn is another young guy who, you know, we're spending some time talking to them. So that, you know, that to me is important. We need to, you know, if we spend some time with these young guys, and, you know, granted, all we can do is try to help open doors, give them some counsel, whatever they'll listen to. But that's the nurturing experience that as they get older, they're going to say, you know, I remember, you know, those guys helped me out. And they talk about it as, you know, they want to be able to pay it forward. So I think it's inherent for us that we got to focus on, you know, we need to look at the guys that are behind us and see what we can do to help support their efforts. And when they're grieving, when they have parents that pass away, or God forbid their own, you know, we had one of our guys who I love dearly, you know, his wife passed away just 3 weeks ago. You know, that hit home for a lot of us guys who are his age, but we want to be there for him. And I can tell you, probably one of our biggest current assets is the prayer team. You know, we have some guys on there Dean Payne, Joe Morgan, Mark Berry, Amos Allen, who soon as something like that happens, they're reaching out. And it doesn't matter that in most times they don't even know the person. They might be 30, 40 years younger, but those are the things that we are focusing on to improve the connectability, and to help sustain the program.
That's great. Yeah. Thanks for sharing that, John.
Yeah.
Just for a few questions going forward about specifically the marketing. So, would you say that your goal is to target? I know that you really want to target current football players. You want to help them out, but do you think that targeting is your goal increase engagement with other alumni, USD football alumni?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the guys coming out now, we want to let them know that as soon as you graduate, you're in the Brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
And we want them to know that we're here to help try to open doors for them. But to answer the question, you're right. We need to connect more with the guys that have been out for 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 years. And we need to connect their groups. Like Todd.
Mm-hmm.
Todd has his guys that he hangs with. Me, V, and Tez, we're kind of all in the same age group, so we kind of have our crew. But yeah, so we do want to keep all, promote all age groups.
John, and just to kind of piggyback on that, from a marketing perspective, we've just been lucky enough to have word of mouth that has ran through the generations of this whole thing and pulled a lot of guys together. But from a marketing perspective, it's about exposure, obviously. There's a lot of guys out there that may not even know that this is happening. Right. And that's where I think this marketing effort has to really, really, dig in.
So, Alyssa, when you were over at the foundation, there's a database over there for all your graduates. Does it specify that they played football? I mean, is there a master list of ex-players somewhere?
Yes.
Okay.
But I will caution you. I want to keep expectations very, very good here. The USD Foundation's database is not perfect. So it's possible that, while the rosters from 1980 to 1985 were added, the roster in 1986 did not. So it's not absolutely perfect, but that actually would be one of my recommendations as kind of a next step, is we see what kind of information we could get from both the athletics department and the foundation to use for audit purposes. It's really nothing more than that. In fact, I liken it to what some of the sororities and fraternities will do. Their national headquarters maintain membership information, but there's some cross-checking that happens between the individual chapters and the foundation. It won't be perfect. The data will never be perfect, but you can probably clean it up quite a bit.
Would that be something that we could get, you think?
I think we could sure ask.
Yeah.
One other area that and obviously we've only ever had conversations with the athletic and football side of this university, foundation a little bit, but like I know the university has a terrific career development program, and we don't want to reinvent that kind of a wheel, but we would like to become a good partner with them.
Yeah.
Where guys come to us, great. Go over here. You can see Samantha. She's running the program, and she can plug in your info or do whatever. So that's a partnership. And we would like to, anything that you guys come up with, creative things that would be good partnerships for us, we're all about it. That would be terrific.
I think another thing that would be interesting is some sort of like alumni mentorship program as well.
Yeah.
Getting paired up individually. I know I've had great success with that in the business school, and I know that the sororities and fraternities are implementing that as we speak. So that could be another aspect that we look into.
Yeah, and you're right, that's a good program. We've talked about it. Guys have an interest in that. And here again, it's like, okay, well, how do we do it?
Mhm.
How do we do it, and who's going to do it? But if we have kind of a game plan, then we can kind of reach out and say, hey, do you want to take the lead on this? So yeah, I think that's a great idea.
As far
One
as,
more question. Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead, Katie.
Uh, just for, looking at the back end of the website and your socials, would you be willing to provide some information for like your login for that? I know that was beneficial for the last group that I helped. I don't know who has access to
Katie, I'm so happy you asked that question.
that.
I'm going to email you all of the logins and passwords. That would no, great, great. I'll get you whatever. Yeah, whatever I have, I'll happy to share. And feel free to, yeah, go in there and do whatever you think, or any suggestions. Welcome.
Great, thank you.
So, we don't have your contact information, emails, phone numbers, that type of thing, or I don't know if that's appropriate or not, but
Hey, V,
would there be something we could send it to John? John could pass that on to us.
yeah, I have that info, V.
Oh, you do? Okay.
And I'll share that. I have their resumes and their emails, so I'll share that with the team.
Excellent.
Because I think if we could try to come up with, like some specific objectives, and there's a group of us where, you could grab one of us or two of us and kind of focus on that objective and following through with, Colin and Katie, and, certainly on the marketing side, Katie's going to be there, and Colin, you know, because I'm not even sure of the list of objectives. I've got a lot of stuff that I wrote down. In fact, John, what you should do is take this video and put it into Chat GPT and have them summarize it. No, then you can send it out. Then you wouldn't have to listen to this whole thing. You could just summarize the whole deal. But anyway, and maybe our next meeting would, after we've kind of got a little bit of the playing field, is to kind of come up with specific objectives. So we have a goal to try to achieve over the next, what would we have? April 16th, they got to have their presentation done. So let's say, how many more meetings would we have before the 16th? What's today, the 12th, 13th?
7 or so.
7. Okay. Well, that seems like a fair amount of time to, kind of set some goals, and try to move along to reach that objective. And maybe that's what we could focus on the next meeting is, kind of narrowing down what actually we'd like to try to get done over the next, 6 meetings.
And the other thing, I know it's like, wow, April 16th is still 2 months away, but also that is going to be here before we know it. I know in your application, John, you had indicated that if there was an opportunity to have a fall project too, that you would be open to that. Maybe as part of that kind of strategic planning, John, we identify, is there a part 1 and a part 2 to this? We focus on part 1 in the spring, and it gives you guys an even stronger case for why this would be a good project in the fall if there's a secondary piece of it.
I like that. Yeah, I think that's great, because I think, and the other thing that I hope comes out of this is, for us to have developed a good relationship with Colin and with Katie, and that might go beyond the program in a sense, assuming that that's okay, where they will know us inside and out. And you're right, we're only going to get so far in the next couple of months. And to be honest, with what's happening at the university level in athletics and what they're talking to us about with this membership idea, I mean, there's a lot of other things that are going to happen over the next several months and summer. So yeah, I would be more than happy to have a phase 1 and phase 2 for sure.
Well,
There's a lot to think about in JR. Not losing the message, right, of what you just described. What the vision is for you. With this is just another fundraising thing coming from the university, right?
Exactly.
You got to be really careful about that. Like you said, and you raise some money in the meantime, and that doesn't have to change. But not mixing up that message with the marketing is hard to do, but really important.
Mhm.
well, and part, it's the part 1, part 2. Part 2 is going to coincide with the fundraiser, and who knows how that's going to look this year with all the changes coming about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Mike. I mean, they're looking at other options for us to
Right.
consider, for sure. But I think that's really important for both Colin and Katie to know that we don't want to be perceived as a fundraising organization. That's not, that just happens to be a little bit of a side effort that we're happy to do, but that's not our main objective at all. Yeah.
That's good to know. Thank you.
Okay, well, we are just about at our hour here. As immediate next steps, shall we, John, do you mind setting up a reoccurring Zoom for this time?
Yeah.
We'll put it on our calendars if you want to share it with this group or anybody else in your leadership team that you think should consider participating. I think Katie, Colin, and I will hopefully have a chance to get together as well to kind of recap some of our conversation that we had today. And then, John, to your great suggestion, maybe plan to use our meeting next week really to refine those goals, those objectives for this semester, and keep an eye on what we might be able to accomplish in a second part of this in the fall.
Great. And so what I'll do too is I'll share Colin and Katie's info with the team. Katie, I'll get you like the website, and I may have to call you to figure out how to find that, but
That's fine.
but we'll figure out that. And I think the other thing too, both Colin and Katie, feel free to reach out to me if you're during the week, if you come up with a thought, hey, and then I can get that information shared out with the team so that, people know what we're, if you have some new info that you want to get spread out. Yeah, we're definitely committed to this mission. And so, as you're kind of working your project, we want you to be successful too. We want you to get, the best out of this that you can get. So don't hesitate to reach out with thoughts or ideas or whatever. This has been terrific. I'm excited. Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
Great. Yes.
Yeah.
Super fun.
Well, great. Thanks for everybody. Appreciate everybody.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Hey,
Thanks,
thank you,
everybody.
Todd.
Great to
Good
see you all.
weekend.
Thanks, guys.
As we'll
Thank
see
you
ya.
guys.
Yeah. Have a good
By
day.
the way, I'm going to an alumni meeting tonight in Fort Myers. I got my South Dakota shirt on. It's at 7:00 tonight.
Good. Will you tell them what we're doing? Tell them what we're doing.
Yeah, you betcha. All right.
All right. Have fun.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
See you
you.
guys.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
Nice to see you all.
Yeah, take care.